We have a ton of tangents, but somehow we find our way back.
I call it matrix conversation.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Same thing. Lightwork is what most people call me. If you want to use Christine, that's fine as well. Those are my two names. So pick one.
Christine the Crystalline.
I guess
I'm good with Hope or
yeah.
So James, are we ready? Did you want to?
Mhm.
Okay. So James Churchward in the 1900s, what he did is he claimed that he translated ancient tablets describing the past Pacific civilization called Mu, and it sank around 12,000 years ago. Okay. Now, they're not going to admit that there's geological evidence of a sunken supercontinent matching what he claims. But as I mentioned to y'all, and I've seen it with my own eyes, you can go to Google Earth. And like I said earlier, the tops of Hawaii, Easter Island, Fiji, all of that. Those are the tops, the very tippy tops of Mu, Lemuria. Okay. Now, it's considered or called, quote unquote, one of the nicknames is the Pacific Mother Civilization. It dates in esoteric circles, it predates Atlantis. It's quite spiritually advanced, and it's the source of later cultures and a lot of our spirituality as we understand it today. The roots came from Mu or Lemuria. And so Mu, let me do that again. Mur, M-U-R, that appears in some occult writings. It's also in some channeled material. And it also is mentioned in alternative history streams. So sometimes Mur is described as the priest king of Mu. An earlier pronunciation of Mu, a title meaning teacher or light bearer. It just depends on the source. So there isn't any independent historical records of a civilization officially called Mur. But within all knowledge, there is a piece of truth. So in most cases, people feel that Mur is a reinterpretation or mystical variation of Mu. And then with Lemuria, that's the scientific origin. Now, unlike Mu, Lemuria began as a quote unquote scientific hypothesis in 1864. And there was a zoologist, his name was Philip Sclater, S-C-L-A-T-E-R, like C-S-C above the word later. And he proposed a lost landmass, quote unquote, in the Indian Ocean to explain lemur fossils in Madagascar and India. So you see, there are different variations, there are different placements on the earth plane. So we just have to, go with what resonates with us, of course. And so later on, there was a lady named Helena Blavatsky. I hope I said that right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Helena Blavatsky.
Yeah. And so
The Apostolical Society was born out of her, I think.
And it was considered, Lemuria was considered the home of quote unquote the third root race. And like I said earlier, pre-Atlantean civilization. It was also a stage of like the early human spiritual evolution. That's why I was saying there's a lot of roots. There's a lot of ancient knowledge that comes from Lemuria, and what we have today, a lot of it does stem from that ancient knowledge. And so you've got, excuse me, my throat's a little I've been having some health issues lately, but anyway, so my throat sometimes locks up. So all three are functioning as symbols of a lost golden age, like the pre-fragmentation of humanity, unity consciousness, and civilizations destroyed by imbalance. And there's a coherence before hierarchy and ugh, sorry, I told you my throat just kind of freezes. Technological distortion. There are some mythic mirrors that 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 people will infuse into the knowledge. So some people say there's no verified continent of Mu. Some people say there's no recorded civilization called Mur. Some people say there's no geological Lemuria as originally proposed. But if you look, like I said earlier, at Google Earth, you can see below those islands the outline. You can see the dark, literal outline of Lemuria. And as I mentioned earlier, it's like the size, if not a little bit bigger, of the United States and Canada combined. So it wasn't little, it wasn't small on any level. But it definitely evokes the divine feminine energy, whereas Atlanta invokes the divine masculine energy. And if you want me to repeat about the spirituality, because this is being recorded, Anna?
Mhm.
Okay. So with teaching spirituality to the people, they taught it at their own pace and they let them absorb in their own time frame. And they weren't chastised for it. And they were lifted up and supported. In Atlantis, it started off one way. It started off with good intentions, but there was an infiltration of desire to get ahead, do more, have more. The advanced technology and those that were taught spirituality, if they didn't learn quick enough, they were enslaved. So they were the worker bees that were helping to build Atlantis as it was evolving. And they just, let's say, got a little ahead of themselves. And that caused the demise of the island to erupt with a volcano, or however you learn or feel it was finished. I've seen the volcano erupting. I've seen it spewing. Yeah, we had to make a mad dash out of everything. I don't want what I told y'all earlier tape, so I'm not going to say that part for obvious reasons. But yeah, it still translates now some of their teachings that they had. And a lot of people have thought that now, as we're entering a lot of AI, which has been around for a very long time, but now it's kind of trendy, that we're going through Atlantis 2.0. Now, it depends on how you follow the teachings. I like Dolores Cannon. There's an old and a new earth, the old energy, the new energy. It doesn't mean it's a physical old and new, but it's an energetic old and new. Because if you think about it, if you go back to, the first version, when you have, going to the second version, going into 3 and 4D, and then going into 5 and 6D. So 1D had to evolve into 2D, but where did it go? It didn't. I believe it still exists. It just depends on where we are vibrationally and with our frequency as to where we're placed. But everybody feels as they do. And so as far as Atlantis, did y'all want to go into Atlantis or just Lemuria?
I mean, if you have more, yeah. I was gonna say if you have more to share, Lemuria.
That, well, that would be good. I told Anna a little bit earlier that I do have some time constraints, so I don't know if I could go through the whole thing. But we'll do our best. How about that? And No. I mean, if y'all have information to share, please feel free to join in. Please, absolutely share what you've got. But yeah. Mm. Well, when we have an NDA, near death, you know, experience, we have shifts in our consciousness. We have shifts in our spiritual journey. We have shifts in information that we're allowed to now possess. So that's very common. That's very common. Sideline. Sorry, scrolled on you. All right. So the crystal people. Go ahead. All right. So the crystal people and the crystal skulls. So in Lemurian spiritual narratives, crystal beings are described as high frequency light bodies, silica based or light infused consciousness, telepathic, harmonic, heart centered, living in unity consciousness before density increased. And so the crystal skulls, which was in the short snippet of the video with Forest Fairy that you shared with us, Anna, thank you. There is a very famous one. It's a Michael or Mitchell Hedges crystal skull. And there's been scientific testing of many crystal skulls, which has shown tool marks from modern rotary instruments. So that's looking at the 19th century or later. But most are now considered modern creations. So in the esoteric belief systems, crystal skulls are said to, a few things I'll share, store ancient knowledge, act as memory libraries, be consciousness amplifiers, and connect to Lemurian or Atlantean grids. Now, if you want to go a little bit deeper, the crystal skull represents preserved ancestral memories, structured divine intelligence, and the human mind becoming more transparent to light. As we step into our crystalline light bodies, or crystalline, some people say it differently, light bodies in 5 and 6D, that's what they mean about, the transparent more into light, because we'll be able to remember all of our past lives. We'll be able to remember so much more because we're operating on a higher frequency, a hyper vibration, and more, 5 and 6D mindset. Whereas our human vessel, we can't remember all of the family members that we've lost, all of the homes that we used to have, all of the animals, if you're an animal person, that we've had. It's too much. We would just be frozen. Basically, it would break our brains and our hearts. So we wouldn't want that. But as we step into more of our crystalline light bodies, we'll be able to handle that knowledge. Now, many spiritual systems, if you want to use that word, use Lemuria or Mu as the archetype of pre-duality civilization. Heart-centered consciousness. I'm sure I mentioned the heart more than once, so you're seeing the theme because it is more heart-centered. And the pre-patriarchal harmonic societies. And so Mu, Mer, and Lemuria are not exactly the same, but they have evolved. And Lemuria is what we consider now, as far as the quote unquote lost Pacific mother civilization that we mentioned a little bit earlier. And so with the crystal skull people, oops, I heard a brrr. What was that? Oh, okay. Okay. I didn't know maybe if I disconnected because my phone is interesting. I'm just going to leave that there. Anna knows. Whoosh. So the yeah. The crystal skull people, they do not originally refer to humans who carved skulls out of quartz or an ancient tribe, single ancient tribe. It rather refers to a priesthood class, consciousness lineage. And that appears in multiple mythic systems as memory keepers, whose roles were the preservation of the planetary knowledge across cataclysms of planetary knowledge, um, um, and whose tools were crystalline rather than written language. So a lot of primordial information that comes out of Lemuria, or Mu, I should say. And so the crystals, it's not exactly decorative or symbolic alone. The skulls, they're understood as more of a structured light capable of phase locking consciousness. Now, meaning that information, it's not stored symbolically, as in the written word, but it resonates and it's accessed only when the observer's nervous system enters a compatible harmonic state. You know how when we do meditations, we can go into a different frequency, we can go into a different vibration, or our mindset takes on different knowledge that may not normally come to us in our everyday life, which we have noise, the TV, the radio, the cell phones, the music, the horns, the traffic, the people talking, workplace, all of that. But the skull shape matters, Anna, because it is essential. And across esoteric or spiritual, same thing, traditions, the skull represents the neural container, the seat of the individual consciousness, and the point where light, memory, and identity intersect. Now, the crystal skull is thought of as a consciousness mirror. It's not like a data drive. It doesn't, quote unquote, contain information the way a book does, but it rather induces recall by entraining the observer's brainwaves and subtle body into coherence. So there's a connection that's just deeper than, reading a book, because you've got the power of the gemstone, whether it's the clear quartz or whatever, because skulls are made out of everything, but um, you've got, the smoky quartz, you have different variations. And so that's why skulls, they don't activate for everyone. You're drawn to what you're drawn to, and you resonate with what you resonate. And if you don't, there's no right or wrong, But it doesn't. The skulls don't really connect with those that are skeptical, and they are said to, quote unquote, wake only certain people. So, I'm trying to infuse some of Anna's video that she shared along with some of the history of Mu and Lemuria, but so Lemurians did.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, just like do what you can, do what you can, share what you can, share what you feel led,
Mhm. So Lemurians did build crystalline structures, and there are many. As oh gosh, I always forget names. I'm sorry. Holly, no, Hope. Yes, Hope. Thank you.
Yeah.
Hope had mentioned about the crystal pyramids. So you've got the crystal pyramids, you have the columns, you have temples that are crystalline, um, you have sacred sites, you have the human DNA lineages, and you
Did I
have the
mention
mythic
cameras?
memory. I thought you
What's that?
mentioned the crystal pyramids. I thought you did. I
No,
apologize if I.
that was Silver Star from the TikTok video that I when she did that energy reading, that like past life reading thing that
Oh,
she did for
yeah.
randomly.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay.
yeah. She talked about the 6 pyramids. Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm. So, second, let me get a little something. My throat is really kicking.
The 6, I think she called them crystal pyramids or something.
Yeah,
Maybe.
crystal pyramids. So, if people are strongly drawn to Lemuria, or even it resonates with them on a different level, because consciously remember things and subconsciously remember things. And sometimes, like was shared earlier with the NDAs, you do have a different memory that will start to come, and you'll get the keys that you were always meant to get, to use that information to connect to our previous spiritual journey that we're on now, to add to what we've had, so we can start to remember our ancient abilities and our ancient knowledge, and everything will come together, which it is. But people that are drawn, like I said, to Lemuria or Mu or the crystal skull, people, they're typically not remembering necessarily a place, but a role. Sometimes they remember the places, like they're beautiful waterfalls, and there are caves behind the waterfalls in Lemuria that you have to have a certain vibration and frequency to get into. But the rainforest, they're beautiful. The colors of the plants and the trees and the animals, whether they're, birds, or, the dragons, or the wolves, or, the dolphins. It's just the colors are so vibrant, and it emanates a soulful energy that just allows one to be so relaxed, and just breathe without hardly a care in the world, for the most part. Just think about like the good Garden of Eden before things unfolded. It just had that resonance, if that makes sense. And so a lot of people that do connect with Lemuria they're memory keepers rather than rulers, or they're grid stabilizers rather than teachers. Uh, they're witnesses rather than, you know, evangelists. And so it's remembering the functions. It's remembering the work that was done there. And that's why people like myself and others that resonate with Lemuria, they feel so called to protect the knowledge rather than broadcast it, or they're sensitive to distortion and misuse, because we know when we feel someone energetically, we're like, yep, they're telling the truth. Or we have piloerection, the goosebumps we discussed earlier. Or sometimes we're like, yeah, I'm not quite resonating with them. So we feel more than most. And we carry this grief without a personal narrative, but we remember the grief because we remember the fall. We remember what was lost, and we remember what it contained. And sometimes we have difficulty with linear authority structures. We don't necessarily like to follow the rules that are placed around before us.
I'm always late.
Yeah, you
always
think
late
outside.
everywhere. I'm late.
Yep,
I'm late to work. I work from home, and I'm late to work. I'm late to my flights. I'm late everywhere. I'm like the rabbit in Alice in Wonderland. And
how dare they not hold the plane for you, woman?
Bruh.
I know, right?
Um,
I'm late everywhere. But anyways, go
on
on, sorry.
on Lemuria, no, you're fine, hon. Thank you for adding. On Lemuria, there was a lot of telepathic conversations, a lot of light language, both spoken and with the hands, a plethora of ways of healing. The the food and the nourishment and the plants and the animals and the people. It was just utterly a happy place. And I'm also sharing from my remembrances and my downloads as well. But life was just, it was practically without incident. It was life as we would expect it to be. You know, there were no ill intentions. There was no jealousy. Can't stand that anyway. Don't understand it or can't stand it. There was no unkind thoughts or deeds. There was no darkness. There was, now, of course, there was protection so that didn't come into play, but it was just, it's hard to describe. Magical. The best word I could probably use. It was just magical. And as far as, so much stuff I want to share, but it's like, it's all coming at me in different from different, my higher self is in my spiritual team, and they're like, tell them this, tell them that, tell them this. I'm like, oh, just give me a minute. But as far as the grid and the earth connection to Lemuria and the crystal people, let's go there for a second. It was anchoring the planetary grid points. So I do a lot of grid work. I do a lot of mound work for the Native American mounds. I do a lot of missions. I'm just going to call them that share and correct, I guess you could say, share the knowledge and correct the wrongs and turn them into what they should have been all along. I do have a couple in my inner circle. Some I work with certain people, some I work with other people, some I work with other people, and some I do solo. But definitely always for the highest alignment of all. On planet, off planet, inner planet, and Agartha, doesn't matter. But the crystal people, they were the ones that were anchoring the planetary grid points and working with crystalline bedrock or the quartz veins, stabilizing the earth frequency during magnetic shifts. And quartz deposits are often located, if you think about it, along fault lines and the tectonic activity zones. So the ancient cultures, what they did is they built temples and ritual sites in the active places, because those are the places where the the energy came from. That's where it was felt. It could be utilized. It could be leaned into. So, but always with the harmony for the earth planes as well as the beings. And I'm just using the word beings loosely. When somebody connects to the crystal people, it often reflects like a desire for transparency in a deceptive world. And I think that Anna's on some rabbit holes where, the deceptiveness of certain people and their actions does not bode well with her, as it doesn't bode well with any of us. But it also reflects a nervous system that's wired for sensitivity. Sometimes we feel too much. Sometimes we energetically pull in, information that we didn't ask for that just comes to us. And if you're a Hyoka empath as well, you've got a double whammy, because a Hyoka empath is the strongest empath that there is. So good luck with that. It's a lot of fun. There's also a longing for nonviolent lifetimes and structures and just a way of life. And there's a resonance with coherence. Yes, over chaos. So coherence over chaos with communication, the 3 C's. How about that? Thank you, Hope. So the crystal is a symbol of structure without distortion. Like 12 midnight is 0 point energy. that is the time frame. If you're going to manifest or meditate, it's the best time frame because you have the least amount of distortion at 12 midnight. And it doesn't matter where you are, your 12 midnight is what counts. So, there's so much information. Lemuria just has so much.
Can I ask
Go
what
ahead.
what you mean by our like midnight?
Yes.
Like our 12 o'clock? Yeah.
I'm on Eastern Standard Time as Anna is. So it's 10:06 p.m. here. So in just a little bit under 2 hours, you've got 12 o'clock midnight. 12 o'clock midnight, that's when the 0 point energy is at its highest. And so there's the least amount of distortion, like I was saying a little bit earlier. Those that are trying to distort our light, we deal with the least amount. So there's 3 physical layers. There's the physical and misuse, which has different narratives.
That makes
and
so
the
much
symbolic
sense.
meaning.
It's like that energy in the evening, like I feel that shift between then and like almost 4 in the morning. It's just like suddenly I feel like there's not this like energetic debris happening. Like I'm focused. I don't know. It just you can feel it. Like
Nope.
I
it
guess
makes
if you're
sense.
sensitive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Some people feel like they call them the angel hours between 1 and 5 a.m. Or 12 and 5 p.m. People use different time frames. Some people feel like, they're the bewitching hours because they're trying to, again, control and lead us off our path, our true path of righting the wrongs. But yes, and it's basically it's that leftover minimum energy is called 0 point energy. In other words, even in empty space, it's not empty, correct? So it has the fluctuating quantum fields. And so it's if you want to look up the Casimir effect, Casimir, Casimir effect, or Casimir, some people say it differently. You'll read a little bit more, but that's kind of lengthy. But so 0 point energy, it's real in the quantum field theory, okay? And it does exist as a background vacuum energy. It also is extremely small at usable scales. And it's not quote unquote free, but it does have unlimited power, if that makes sense. So if you want to utilize the 0 point energy where there's the least amount of the distortion, our manifestations, become unfolding in divine timing and through divine orchestration, like Anna likes to say. I liked it when she said divine orchestration. I've been using it ever since one time. But it definitely evolves when it's supposed to, but we have the most connection because when we manifest things, if we're manifesting what we want, we also have to remember we want to, if this resonates, take it. If it doesn't, that's okay. But manifest it as if we already have it and also raise our vibration as if we already have it because like attracts like, if you think about it. And the universe is always listening to us. It's always reading, our energy levels. And so if you're like, yeah, well, I'll just go ahead and, win the lottery, I'll win it within the week. No problem. The earth is, the universe is like, yeah, she's not excited. Yeah, I'm not feeling the energy. But if it's, I've already won the lottery. I'm grateful. Gratitude goes a long way, and blah, 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 whatever you want to say. It's a different frequency. It's like when come in, I say namaste, because to me, that means my soul honors your soul. But if I come into a group and say, what are you talking about? Like, who are you? What do you think? You'd be like, who does this girl think she is? You know what I mean? It just hits differently. And so we resonate on different vibrations, and we resonate with different people for different reasons. But it why Lemuria became linked to Atlantis and lost civilizations. Let's go there next. So,
Yeah.
0 point energy became associated with free energy devices. We know that we can harness the energy from the ether. I mean, why should we pay for something we get for free? That's a rabbit hole. Don't need to go down right now. You also have the crystal power systems that work with the crystal people. You also have the Atlantean technology. You also have the suppressed inventions. And ancient civilizations, what they did is they mastered the vacuum energy through crystal arrays in the harmonic resonance or the geometric structures. And so there is supposedly no evidence of such devices. But if you think about it, if you get downloads or if you are shown certain things, you know them to be true because you wouldn't be getting them if the distortion was there and you weren't meant to get them. If you always work through your higher self, through your highest alignment, you will receive true information. And so while there may not be quote unquote physical evidence that we've been available to see, doesn't mean it's not out there and it hasn't been hidden. It's like love. Can you describe what love is? What does love mean to you? You may not be able to put words to it, but you know how it feels and you know it's true because you've seen the love between two people. You see what I'm saying? So just because they're not letting us see the evidence openly does not mean it's false. But the fun part is when with 0 point energy, it's symbolic language. It represents like a stillness that contains infinite potential, the field beneath manifestation, and a pure, undifferentiated awareness and source before form. So, see, we're much more powerful than we realize because we've been controlled. Because, do what?
Yeah, creativity.
Exactly. We are only limited by our fears or whatever we choose to hold us back. But we're not limited. That's the problem. We've been controlled and indoctrinated to, you can't do this, you can't do that. Why can't you do it? Do it. Roll up your sleeves, put fear aside, and just step into your power, step into your divinity, step into your creativity and just do it. The old expression, just do the damn thing. But in mystic traditions, this maps into concepts like the void or the Tao, which is Tao, but it's Tao, the quantum vacuum and the womb of creation. By the way, womb healing is very powerful for both men and women. Very powerful because we take on things ancestrally in the womb, in our mama's womb. But anyway, so I digress. But if you think about it, all potential existing in silence before structure arises. There's a beginning somewhere, and the beginning is silent. But creation breathes life. It breathes existence. It breathes more creation. And it just continues.
Nuances.
So that's I know I've hit on a lot of things. I know that, y'all wanted to learn a lot. There's a lot of Lemurian history out there. It really is. Atlantean, there's a lot of Atlantean history out there. I was looking a little bit earlier for some maps that I've got, but how do I post them in the side chat? How do I
Wherever
post
you are,
them?
I appreciate you being here.
I have an Android. Mhm. Okay. Okay. And okay. And so I can go ahead and in the chat, I can add the photos there in the side chat.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Let
Well,
me
I'm
know if
gonna
you.
hold off for a minute
Yeah.
in chit chatting. So y'all go right ahead while I go look for the pictures. And if y'all want to ask a question, I mean, just ask it. But there's so much information. It's like I've got so many different sources that are like, tell them this and tell them that. And it's like it's way too much, one sitting. But,
Relatable.
How did Atlantis sink? Do you know?
I'm sorry, say that again.
How did Atlantis sink? Because as far as I know, floating
What
civilization,
about like
right?
the never-ending story? Have you seen the never-ending story? Of course, right?
Well, I remember watching like 20 years ago. Yeah.
The darkness that comes and it takes away people's imagination, and so the world of fantasy disappears. And so you have to keep writing in order for the never-ending story to continue. You gotta keep dreaming
Plato said that it
of the future.
sank. Yes, keep dreaming of the future. Plato said that it sank. There was a sudden cataclysm. There were earthquakes and floods. And it was also written from Plato that the entire island submerged in a single day and night, so within 24 hours. And there were no multiple wars or drawn out destruction. It was just boom, done. And the reason being, he felt it was due to the moral corruption that it kept going and kept going, and it had to be stopped. For me, like I told you, I got an eruption, a volcanic eruption of fire. It just that's what I felt. That's what I saw. Um, that's what resonated with me. So we have to go within. We have to go within. But there are like Edgar Casey. Edgar Casey feels like there were multiple, I like him by the way, but there were multiple collapses. Like some traditions describe there were 3 major destruction phases because of the misuse of the crystal based energy technology and the internal conflicts between the spiritually advanced and the corrupt factions, as well as the magnetic instability or gravitational instability. And then you have the natural cataclysms, sorry. The floods, the earthquakes, the volcano, like I witnessed. It doesn't mean that that was the only thing that happened. It's just what I witnessed, and tsunamis. And so, some people say that the energy misuse and the internal conflict happened 50,000 years ago. The technological no, y'all know what I'm trying to say. It just won't come out my mouth. I'm sorry. Sometimes my throat just locks up. Technological. Thank you very much. Spiritual faction wars that happened 28,000 years ago, and the third phase was the final geophysical catastrophe, and that was like 10 to 12,000 years ago. So after the final sinking of Atlantis, it's reported or reputed or thought that survivors allegedly migrated to South America, the Pacific Islands, and even possibly Japan. Remember when it was mentioned earlier, Japan and Atlantis connection. And so what Atlantis, the sinking of Atlantis represents, if that's of interest to you, that the collapse, from the imbalance, that's the advanced mind without the heart. And remember, we spoke earlier about Lemuria or Mu being heart centered several times, and it was also the consequences of the misuse of power. The civilization was destroyed by ego and greed, which it just doesn't bode well with me. But the memory of a golden age, it was lost. It was the spiritually advanced society. Yeah, it was undone by the separation from unity consciousness.
That Luciferian experiment. They're like,
I don't know
wonder
who
what
has
happened
the
if I
frogs in the
don't believe.
background. I love the frogs in the background. Ha!
I appreciate that. I didn't know if it would be annoying or if it would be like, yeah. They'd be loud.
Have you ever looked up the esoteric meaning of frogs? Look up the esoteric meaning of
I'd like to
frogs or
know.
the spiritual meaning of frogs. Oh, it's powerful.
I do that.
It's powerful.
I know in Chinese
frog.
culture that they're seen as like abundance because of the way the eggs
and
are
just-
laid.
The swamp in the summer dries
Full of
up.
abundance.
But when the water comes back, there's just water every step that you take. So it's probably full of tadpoles. I don't usually go out there when it's like that.
Okay. So if I may indulge.
Amazing.
Frogs. That came in a perfect time. Please let them play. Or let us hear them. If that's okay with everybody else. But frogs, they're deeply symbolic across a plethora of cultures. And so they undergo the metamorphosis, like Hope was sharing, the egg, the tadpole, the adult frog. Okay. So that esoterically represents spiritual transformation, personal evolution, and the emergence from unconscious to conscious awareness. Like when somebody has the NDE, you are jumping higher and higher on your spiritual journey. And they're associated, the frogs are associated often with cleansing because of the water symbolism, like Hope was mentioning, with the water a minute ago. So there's a connection with the water and the emotion. So because frogs are amphibious, they're existing both in water and land, right? So water in esoteric terms is the emotional and subconscious realm. So the frogs signify navigating emotions with ease, bridging unconsciousness, i.e., water, and consciousness, i.e., land, experience. And you have the emotional cleansing and release. Now, for the frogs, you have the fertility. Do what?
That in the singularity that is their mouth. It's like a black hole. Toads.
So you have the fertility and abundance. So in many ancient cultures, frogs linked to fertility, rain, and abundance, right? So Egyptians associated frogs with Hecate and the goddess of childbirth and life. And the Native American tradition saw frogs as rain bringers. Now, esoterically or spiritually, frogs represent growth, creativity, and manifestation of potential. We've mentioned manifestation with 0 point energy earlier a number of times, right? Now, frogs are considered the spiritual guardians and messengers. I love the sound of frogs. They appear like is a portal guardian or guide. And it's crossing from one realm to another, i.e., water to land. And they also carry messages from hidden or spiritual worlds. In shamanic practice, we believe that frogs represent medicine for transformation. A lot of healers will use the essence of the frog in healing. You can use any animal you want, the essence of whatever animal. And they all frogs, all deer, all fish, all wolves, all, whatever animal. They represent different types of healing methodologies. And so all Also, the frogs in shamanic practice represent the sign of timing shifts. We are definitely going through one right now. You can't, I don't care if you're not spiritual at all, you feel it at somewhere.
So what does healing mean to you? I'm kind of curious.
Healing, well, I am honored and grateful to be able to help people and animals. They're my favorites. Shh. Because they hit my heart differently around the world. And healing could be heartfelt, soul-felt. It could be from this lifetime, our inner child work. It could be past lifetimes. It could be dis-ease or certain traits or fears that have been passed down in the mother's womb. You have a fear of heights. Why do you have a fear of heights? You get to the root of the issue and then the healing begins. But the healing is multifaceted. It's multi-layered. Healing can be physical, whether it's lumps, bumps, cancer, joints, internal organs. It can be skin issues. It could be healing. It encompasses anything and everything that holds us back or prevents us from doing what we were always meant to do. Human beings were never supposed to be sick. Never. But because of greed and selfishness and control, certain people that had money and power did certain things.
And they betrayed trust, usually.
On deeper levels than people even realize. With the air, the water, the land, with the chemtrails, with poisoning our food, with poisoning our water. If you live in the United States, always take what resonates when I share things and discard the rest. And you will not hurt my feelings at all. At all. Because I like it when somebody says, I don't agree with that. And yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So there's a website that I've trusted for many, many years. It's called EWG, Environmental Working Group.org. And if you want to, you can put in EWG, or if you will remember it easier, Echo Whiskey Golf. .org, and then put a space and put tap water and find out what is in your tap water in the US. Sit down and prepare to be pissed off, people. I said what I said.
EDG.org tap water.
EWG, Echo Whiskey Golf. It stands for Environmental Working Group. That's what EWG stands for, Environmental Working Group. .org. It's a great site. It's people like y'all, like us. We want to get to the truth. So we do the hard work. We do the grassroots. We roll up our sleeves. We come together. Where we're reaching the best answers that we can possibly reach for the greater good of all. And I trust them. So it's a beautiful site. I don't know if it's outside the US. I don't know if y'all are all in the US. I don't know. If some live in Canada, I don't know. But
America's mostly.
Yeah, but so it's just a really, really good site to find the truth. And the chemicals in the tap water, I have rescued, fostered, and adopted Rottweilers for almost 40 years. That's my breed of choice. But the thing is that they don't get tap water to drink, neither do I. I don't brush my teeth with it, which they're the only bones that we see physically. All the rest of the bones are internal. I don't wash my face with it.
Hard water. I know it's hard water. It's gross.
Yeah, I don't cook with it. What I do is I go to...
You need to add ice to it or something.
Yeah, well, if you've got ice coming through the tap water, it's still contaminated water. But
the thing is, because it's contaminated, it's less refreshing. So adding ice makes it more refreshing just to compensate. But that doesn't solve anything. It's just aesthetic.
look up
A lived experience.
healing spring water closest to you. See if there's any spring water places. There's one that's about 90 miles from where I live,
I'm saying.
and it's a sacred Native American healing springs. And there were, during the Civil War, there were 3 British soldiers that were hurt, and they were left by their troops to die because they didn't think that they were going to make it. So there were some Native Americans that found them, and they gave them the sacred Native American healing water, and they also gave them the remedies that were created by Mother Earth. Everything we need to heal, Mother Earth provides for us. It's like there's soursop. Soursop is a plant that's reputed to be 4,000 to 10,000 times stronger than chemo. It's not putting poisons in your body. It's not decalcifying and breaking down your bones and making them weak and fragile. You're not losing your hair. You're not putting poisons in your body just to destroy the organs. But
I usually do the serenity prayer because usually I can't do anything about it.
Yeah,
you got to take
some of you guys have
sacrifices.
Some of you guys have already Lightworks. You've already met Doi, and some of you guys already in here have met Doi. But yeah, Doi and Lightwork are also. Would you say the word is herbologist? Like, I think that's the word. I think that's the right word, right? I think that's the right word.
Working with plants. Yeah,
like plant medicine.
Plant medicine, animal medicine.
Okay.
Whatever you work
I wanted
with.
to make sure I'm using the right word because I'm like a little fuzzy on like the wording, but yeah.
Yeah, you could say holistic healing if you want to.
Yes.
Natural healing, natural remedies. There's so many different. You don't have to limit yourself.
Yeah.
What about Christian alchemist?
Yeah,
No.
you do a lot more than that, but yeah.
Smarty britches, I heard.
A lot of people in here do it, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I'd couple that with quantum healing. So that's what I do. Well, I do more than that, but that's what I do for healing. And so it definitely makes a difference. But the secret is that most people don't think, they just think they can band-aid something with, putting some healing on. No, you need to go to the root of the issue, whether it was in this lifetime, a past lifetime, through the womb, if it was off planet, on planet, and you need to get to the root of the issue, go through that, and then the physical healing can begin. I mean, I can't tell you how many times, somebody's or an animal has had a lump and it was not a good lump.
Right.
The good lumps, like a fatty lump, that's not going to go down. It's not going to subside. It's not going to go anywhere. But the lumps that aren't good for us, they disappear.
Like Western, like medicine, where it's like they're treating the symptoms and not the cause.
Yeah, I just tore my PCL on my knee. I've been on crutches for 5.5 weeks, and I'm not having surgery. So what I've got should be 4 to 6 months for healing. I'm at 5.5-ish, almost 6 weeks. I'm still on crutches, but I'm doing a lot better than people thought I would be doing. So it's like comfrey. Comfrey is called knit bone. Comfrey will help heal and repair skin, bone, tendons, joints, ligaments. There's one, muscles. Yeah, it'll repair it. So, I mean, just if you want to look up, natural healing for whatever, it's out there, or at least now it is. That may change. We don't know. So it's out there. So did I answer the question?
What else would you take for a knee? Can you hear me?
Oh, I forgot who asked.
Yes, Sunny, what did you say?
What else would you take for a knee injury? Comfrey, and what else?
I have been using Comfrey. I've also been using natural muscle relaxer, which that can be the magnesium flakes coupled with a oil that, of course, is cold press and hexane free, so there aren't any carcinogens in it. And you would warm it up in a pot, on the stove where the magnesium flakes melt, stir it up, and then let it cool and put it in an amber or cobalt blue glass container with a sprayer on it. And then you spray it on wherever you need to and, rub it in. So you've got the muscles, that's taken care of. You've got the repair, that's taken care of. But there are so many other remedies that you can also use. There's too many to name, but what I suggest, like for my clients, what I suggest for them is to look up the healing of whatever you need and see what resonates with you, see intuitively what you're drawn to. And then there's your recipe. You see what I'm saying? There's what will work with you, because what works with one person doesn't work with another person. But getting to the root of the issue, of the pain or a phobia or fear, whatever, that's just the way I do it. I get to the root, and then the healing begins, because I'm not going to Band-Aid something. I've got my dad on my shoulder saying, Christine, if you're going to do something right, don't do it half-ass. So I always hear that in my,
That makes a lot of sense.
So it depends on what's going on with a knee. You know what I mean? Is it muscle related? Is it bone joint related? It just depends. There's certain, is it cancer? Is there a disease within the body? That there's an issue. Is it a worn out joint? I mean, it depends. I wasn't trying to not answer you, but I was just trying to share.
Yeah. So, Lightwork, I think I have some of the finest people of my server, of our server in this VC right now, I would say. There's a few others that, we're very fortunate to have. But I would say I'm very, very fortunate to say that I have some of the finest people in the VC here tonight. And and that's including yourself, because I've been trying to get you to join here since August, I think.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah,
it's been a hot minute, but you also know that I was,
I know,
that I had Abby, and I had,
of course, yeah.
but it was, it was her time to go, but I just had to get through it. It's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, but also Creatrix and Oracle joined and stuff. Guys, this is Lightwork. She's an amazing friend from TikTok. But I just wanted to introduce you guys as well. And Yokan, who also joined.
Yeah.
Namaste. Good evening. Good to be here.
Yeah. Namaste.
Yeah.
All right. So I have a couple photos that I want to share. And I hope I do it right.
Oracle says Namaskaram in the side chat.
I have to go back to that invitation in order to.
Okay, so I think that's what I'm saying. I think, in my opinion, the easiest thing to do is you tap the screen once, and then you get that bar in the bottom. And then when you get the bar in the bottom, you see the little the bubble in the middle. That's the side chat.
Yep.
I think that's the easiest way to describe it. Rather than getting tagged in it, showing someone how to get to it rather than tagging them, I think. All right, did you find?
I was also trying to find the Google map. I know I took a screenshot of it, but I was trying to find the Google map where you can see the outline of Lemuria.
Oh.
I might have to dig a little bit deeper for that, and I might have to come back. But Google Maps, Google Earth, rather, sorry, my bad. Look that up, and just go over, Tahiti, Samoa, Fiji, Hawaii, those Easter Island, those islands. So it's in between, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and then on the other side is the western side of the U.S. and Mexico and South America.
Yeah. Okay.
So I was trying to. I
Did you say
have to take
Google Maps?
screenshots of the pictures to pull them up. Sorry, my phone.
Yeah, did you say Google Maps or Google Earth?
Google Earth. It'll show you the maps. It'll show you the map of wherever you want to pinpoint and go. But I have 2, 3. I have 3 ancient maps and one that's kind of more updated. All right. Can I add 3 pictures at the same time?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to share. Go into Discord.
You kind of got to ask yourself too, when you look at the even Google Maps or Google Earth or whatever you choose and stuff, like looking at the water when you zoom in, why it looks like road maps and shit. Sorry, no, not like road marks or whatever.
Are you talking about the ley lines, or what are you talking about?
Not the ley lines, like this. Let me see. Let me post it.
All right, so I did it kind of backwards, but I picked the 3 pictures that I want to send, and I clicked on Discord. And do I go to General Oasis? No, that's not
that
right.
should be fine. That's fine. That should be fine.
No, but I want to learn how to do it the right way. So how do I send it to the group that we're in, where they're chatting in now, the side chat?
Okay. So let me see. Does the general have like a little sparkle thing at the end, or does it just say
Yes,
general?
I have both, and I was going to ask you about the triple stars, the sparkle thing. That's the one?
Yeah, the one with the sparkles. That's the
There we go.
voice chat. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. That's okay. So it should be there. All right. Yes, y'all got it.
Oh, perfect.
You're gonna have to back off. You're gonna have to back off a little bit more, Anna, on Google Earth, because it's not covering like everything large enough. You're gonna have to go back.
Yeah. Okay. So you see it. Yeah. No. So my point is like, the reason why I zoomed in actually is like, because like those look like road road thingies, like I don't know what you call that, like dirt roads.
Okay, so a lot of times you have your waterways, and the waterways need to come in to where they're farming the land and they're growing crops, right? So you have your sorry, it's been a long day. Where you've got the water that comes in and you dig it out where it could like
tributary or a delta.
Yeah. Sorry guys, I can't remember the word I'm trying to use, but anyway, where you have the water coming in, surrounding the crops. We're talking, thousands of years ago, but you've got irrigation. You've got the irrigation tracks. You see what I'm saying? So that may be, I don't know. That's just my thoughts, my first thought. I always go with my first thought. You see what I'm saying? So that could be the irrigation tracks, the markings. But I don't know how much you zoomed in. I don't know. It could be tracks where maybe the volcano is erupted and, all of the lava has taken that track, but irrigation is the first thing I was thinking about.
So do you believe in like mermaids? Do you think mermaids are real?
Yes. So are
Okay.
mermans. Mermans too.
Sure.
Now, mermaids are different than sirens. Sirens, not so good. Mermaids, good. Merman's good. Sirens, no bueno. Mm-mm.
No bueno on the sirens, yes.
Muy mal. Muy mal.
There's a community I'm a part of, and there's a guy that he'll often channel different beings, and whenever he channels the mermaids, it's really funny. His voice like shifts really high, and they never want to leave, and he's always like really uncomfortable because he's kind of this hoity-toity British guy, and he's always like, I don't like channeling these ones. And then they never want to leave. Like, he's like, okay, I'm done. And then they're like, no, we want to stay talking through you. It's quite amusing.
Did he feel drained after he's spoken to them?
No, he just.
Okay. All right, then there's
challenges his sense of masculinity.
Well, here's the thing. We've all had divine feminine and divine masculine past lives. And if somebody's had more divine masculine past lives, but they're a female in this life, their personality traits tend to be more manly. And vice versa. If you're a man, but you've had more divine feminine past lives, your personality traits seem to follow more of the feminine. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I have thought of this a little bit.
Interesting way to look at it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, you have different personality traits. Some people have sigma alpha traits, some have it's just sigma, some have just alpha, some have beta, and it goes on. But the thing is that you can have a female that's very authoritative. You can have a man that just more so listens. And it's not right or wrong. It's not good or bad. There's a balance. Some people may be more maybe more outgoing in social circles than they are in the work circle. And then when they get home, they just want no noise, no people talking, no TV. They just need to decompress. So you can be an extroverted introvert, if that makes sense, or an introverted extrovert, if that makes sense.
That's me.
Yeah, you're just a hodgepodge. We love you. What can we say?
Maybe.
But I'm telling you.
You think you're an extroverted introvert?
I'm a little bit of this and a little bit of that, to be honest with you. And I'm kind of not going to answer that question on the ground that it may incriminate me. I have a very soft side to me. And I always try to be very fair and understanding of other people. And when we have conversations and somebody says, well, Christina, I don't agree with you for that. I'm like, tell me why, tell me more. So I can learn and have a different perspective. I don't think my way is the only highway. I like to share keys, and the keys that are dropped, for those that are meant to pick them up, they will. If they weren't meant to pick up the keys, they're not. Maybe not at that time, but maybe later on they'll reflect on a conversation and they may pick up the key then. There's no right, there's no wrong. But I'm used to managing on a professional level. So I delegate, I coordinate, it just comes naturally to me. But what I do appreciate and have much gratitude for is there's always the team that works collectively nobody is better than anyone else. I don't care if you're at a job, your spiritual journey, how much money you have, what kind of car you drive. That stuff is minutia. What matters comes from within. What matters comes from the heart. I feel like my heart is my true brain. It's like I have been helping vets since the mid 80s because they have anxiety, they have depression, they have PTSD, and our government has failed them. That is my personal opinion. If you don't agree with me, that's okay. But I feel like our government has failed them. So I help them with all of that. And they're comfortable because I don't judge, I don't put people down, and I truly listen. And if they want answers, they ask, I give. If not, Anna will tell you, I'm not nosy. I don't ask a bunch of personal questions, never have. People tell me what they feel comfortable in sharing. But the main problem with our vets is that when people use the word vulnerable, they feel like vulnerability denotes weakness. It does not denote weakness. Vulnerability denotes strength because it takes a lot of strength and courage to say, this is who I am and this is what I believe in, because you're leaving yourself open for different comments that sometimes are negative because people don't understand how to communicate respectfully. If you don't agree with somebody, that's okay, but discuss it with respect and kindness. But the thing is that men, unfortunately, and women, but men mostly, unfortunately, don't feel like there's somebody out there that they can talk to. Because what was the man raised to do? If you've got twins, one's a girl, one's a boy, and they're, say, 3 years old, and they fall, equal falling, okay? The girl, what happens? They're picked up. Oh, you okay? It'll be all right. It's okay. I've got you. Hugs and kisses and all that kind of stuff. The little boy, same thing. Falls down. Walk it off. Be a man. Toughen up. Da, 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 da. No, they should be raised the same because men don't feel like they have somebody to talk to that's not going to put them down or is not going to make fun of them. And that is so wrong. It's so wrong because human beings, we all bleed red. We all have emotions. We all have thoughts and feelings. We're all insecure. And if somebody tells you they're not insecure on some level, they're lying. Sorry, but not sorry. So sometimes we just need someone to walk beside us and say, I hear you. I believe you. And I will stand with you. They can't do the work for the person, but they can support the person, whether it's a male or female. Doesn't matter to me. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if it doesn't, it doesn't, and that's okay.
I think it makes sense, but I've also witnessed and experienced different. Like I witnessed a lot of parents working with young ones where if they fall, you don't respond.
Mhm.
Because if you respond, then they're like, oh, I've fallen. And they start to cry and they start to, have a more dramatic reaction. Whereas if the parent is like, you're fine, get up, the child doesn't cry and gets themselves up and realizes that they've just fallen. They're not, I mean, not if they're bleeding. That's a bit different, but.
Yeah, no, I get it, Hope. I do. So this is what my dad used to say, like if we fell or something like that, because we use that as an example. My dad would say, did you hurt the floor? And then we start laughing. You see, Dad didn't have that nurturing like Mom did, so he used humor. But then again, as Heyoka means sacred clown. And so we infuse humor with healing because when we laugh, we breathe differently. and the air flow and the energy flows differently. That's why when people went through, say, the Depression, they would go and pay to see movies or comedy, that made them laugh. People have been paying to laugh for decades, for a
just like
long time.
metaphysical bubbles, like humor, suds, bubbling, especially when you're cooking, like cooking something good. It's good humor.
You know,
when I'm
it's
cooking something
interesting.
good,
They
my
did
nose
some
kicks in.
studies around people watching like stand-up comedy. It was an elder's home a few years back, and they did this test, and they some of them had diabetes. Like half of them had diabetes, half of them didn't, and they would expose
Oh,
them to
I hope
stand-up
they have
comedy
diabetes
or
too
stand-up
versus
comedy
one.
show, and then
Mhm.
mm, I think it was diabetes too, because it was it was an elderly home, and
Good.
yeah, and they
It's
completely
an easier one.
okay.
Sure.
Yeah, and their blood sugar totally stabilized. The ones that were like laughing for an hour after eating a meal. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah.
kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It was like all
Sunlight,
this
and
blood pressure
grounding.
lowering. Yeah.
Mhm. That's
Sunlight?
why when somebody's married or in a relationship, they tend to live longer than when they're single. Because when they're single, they're alone. I'm not saying they're lonely. There's a difference. But they're alone a lot, so they don't have that interaction. Laughter, same thing. It creates a different energetic imprint on our bodies, in our minds, in our hearts, our souls. It just feels different. But yeah, I mean, the mind is more powerful than we realize, and we are stepping into more of who we are. We're stepping into more of our divine energy. We're stepping more into our truth, and we're stepping more into our ancient wisdom, because those that are held back by fear, until they break through that fear, whatever it may be, then they'll always be stuck. And sometimes it just takes one person to support them. It doesn't have to be, like a relationship, but just, a person, uh, to change the dynamics and give them that extra little push and nudge that they need, of confidence, to say, I can do this. I will do this. This is already done. I claimed it in gratitude. Swipe your hands and keep going forward. You know, law of attraction.
Yeah, totally.
Momo's kind of quiet
Balance,
over there. I'm a little disappointed. Just saying.
balance
Oh no, I
between
did
stillness.
it.
Excuse me, I almost said as Momo likes to say, as Nova likes to say, balance between stillness and movement, law of attraction, but also balancing that with law of detachment,
Yes.
knowing when to
Yes.
let go.
Recognize, but do not absorb. Because sometimes, especially if you're an empath and you absorb way too much, that's not fun.
Right. I agree. I also would say something similar to that.
Do you? What do you say? I'd love to hear it.
Oh, it's different. It's an alchemy every time. I say what comes to me, but I did recognize that form, and I do agree with it, and I do recommend being able to let go for those reasons. Anyways,
Yes.
I
A
mean,
lot of times it's not
for
our
me,
stuff, it's others.
it's my silence and stillness is my sword and shield.
Momo, may I share something with you, please?
Sure.
I see your sword. And the handle of your
Yeah.
sword is very intricately carved. It's very intricately
Huh.
carved. It emits a blue light. And the tip of it is golden.
Oh dang.
Just not the whole thing, but just the very tip is golden. the handle on it. Ooh, it's very ancient. Ooh, you're another old soul. Oops, I just told Janya. Sorry. Hey, there's some of us
Somebody always
that creep.
wants to
Okay.
tell Momo something. Momo, someone always wants to tell you something. Have we noticed that in the chat?
I'm just very quiet about it, you know.
Nah, I love that for you though. I love that I've
Yeah.
witnessed that for you though too.
I'm just gonna say energy recognizes energy. No disrespect to anybody else, but anyway. So I see the handle is intricately carved, and there are some runes that are carved into it. You've got a lot of Viking, Nordic, Celtic, Scottish. You've got a lot of bloodlines that are, yeah, definitely Viking. I see you on the wooden ships too, but yeah, your sword emits this very, very powerful, very deep. It's deep blue on the inner part, but on the outside it becomes more of a lighter blue, not a baby blue, but just a lighter version of the deep blue. Are you connected to Archangel Michael on any level? Or what does blue mean for you? Okay, there you go. There's your connection. Thank you very much. So you are the protector. You are the guardian. You are you are the gatekeeper. Yeah, you're the gatekeeper.
That's honestly what I was thinking when I first joined the server that I seen you in. I'm like, I was thinking, I never wrote any messages down, but I was thinking, who has the keys? Who's got the
You
keys?
don't have all of them, but you've got a good amount of them, sir.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, on a certain level.
I know what you mean. Yeah, you're another one of those when you move, you creep. You're ancient. You're primordial.
Because like on the inside, there's like a lot of creativity.
On the inside, you're a squishy marshmallow. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, I have my ways. No, but the blue does resonate because
Chris,
first time I was asked
you might want to stop like the recording now. It's probably best to like probably stop it. Yeah, just in case, like I don't know. Yeah.
Oops, sorry about that.